So the workout this week we're calling Heavy Lies the Crown. And what that refers to is a king. A king wears a crown, and sometimes it's quite heavy. It's heavy to be a leader. There is this requirement, as you just heard, to show up presenting a face of strength and leadership. There's a necessary another face of tenderness and grace and depth, and then there's you in that somewhere or in all of it. So today, as we go into this abridged empathy workout, I want to invite you all to think of yourselves and the power that you hold. No matter what you do on a daily basis, you have the opportunity to lead. You have the opportunity to find your most effective way of standing up for what you believe in. And the reason we have these empathy workouts is so that we can have practice around these difficult questions and be in a community and observe different tools for how to show up the way we want to, different models for how to show up the way we want to. So we're gonna just discuss one question this week. It's a green question. I never do this. I never jump up levels. If y'all who know me know I'm dogmatic about going up the levels from happy hour to blue to green, but we're gonna go right in, because guess what? Heavy lies the crown. And you don't always get to pick what level the questions come at you when you're in a position of leadership. So I'd love to start getting your volunteers in, because we're gonna do popcorn style, try to share the space. Take about a minute, time yourself. It's honor code. And the question this week is, are diversity quotas a problem or a necessity, and why? And we're gonna discuss this one until 3:05. So let's see how many voices we can get in here, leaders. Let's hear it. Bahia, you want to lead us off?
So yeah, that's a very tricky question, and especially in education institutions, because that's like really the path to opportunity. So my answer to this is I see it in the corporate world as let's say it's I believe it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. If in our organization, I will never address inclusion and equity with only a quota. I think there are better solutions for that, to provide access, like support communities, schools, having coaching inside the organization. So I will say it may help, but there is many other opportunities and initiatives that can be more impactful. So I think it has been an easy tool used for now. That's my answer.
Yeah, thank you for that. Carol, you wanna chime on top of that?
For sure. I think that I can't recall exactly how the question was. Are diversity quotas a necessity, or what was the question?
And why? But you can just go with
a problem or a necessity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respond to
I would say that it really all depends the motivations behind you saying that we need to have these diversity quotas, in the sense of, are you just creating spaces of inclusion where it's like, well, we had to include people of color, we had to include people with all of these diverse backgrounds? Or are you truly creating spaces of belonging where you will cater to their needs and everything that will rise up with having this diversity quota, right? Like if you're just saying, oh, we have this many minority students in our school and it's amazing. Well, are you truly embracing all of them and what all of their journeys contain? Like if you were an ESL student, that already comes with so much trauma, that already comes with so many things. Are you truly going to be addressing what that has done to their journey and the needs, what that they need to truly own their leadership, to truly own their journey? Or are you just going to be like, yeah, we just have you there, but we're not truly going to see you and see the needs that you have to truly take you in and build you up in the best way possible, and seeing the things that you have as you are going to be an amazing leader because of the things that you bring to the table, not in spite of them.
Vicky, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, along those same lines, you know, the word quota, of course, sets a lot of people's teeth on edge. I like to think of it more along the lines of a target, but first and foremost, you have to lay the groundwork with structure of inclusion, because otherwise, whatever diversity increases you have, they're just going to walk out the door because you're not setting up a place of success and development for the employees. I think diversity is a gift, and you're welcoming diverse people into your space, and your organization has to be ready to help to nurture and develop them. So it's like cart before the horse. I think you have to have a target there somewhere in there, but first and foremost has to come the inclusion and equity and belonging structure.
Nene, you wanted to chime in as well?
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yay! Okay, so thank you to Michael for this whole empathy workout. I've been like loving it, and thank you also for our session last week, specifically Let's Go There. And so I do diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm a senior consultant for Jennifer Brown Consulting. My current client is the American Red Cross, over 1,000 people. That was like my biggest one, and I like cried tears of joy, like, oh my God, it's American Red Cross. So, you know, I never change. I think that the conversations around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging really are centered around whiteness. It's centered around whiteness, and then the othering of everybody else has to vie for attention, vie for space, vie for power, and then it becomes competition. But if you take the core of it out, which is the whiteness, everybody else is like, hey, ooh, you know, and again, this is not an attack on white people, but the phenomenon of whiteness, which is embedded in materialism, competition, using words, you know, to using language, weaponizing it to then other people even more to feel like they can't even have a say in this conversation, because by the time you look at all the legalese and everything else, people just feel like, oh, okay. You know, so for me, I look past all of that. I see it. I see it for what it is. And I go, no. We're going to go there. And I am 100% authentic with whoever I'm talking to, whether it be a client or anybody. And I feel like when you're looking at this notion of a quota, who is a person that is of color or other, right? Because again, I also have a bachelor's of science in speech pathology. So we're not even talking about people with different abilities. We're not even talking about people who might have like an audiology, a oral problem in terms of their ability to hear. We're not even talking about people who stutter. We're really, when we think of diversity, the reason why people are so emotionally involved and our adrenal glands are pumped is because of race. So it really is about whiteness. That's really what it is, period. And for me, if you're gonna bring these other people into the space, who are they? Are they Black, brown people who are authentically who they are, who are going to speak up and check people at any given time? Or are you going to get somebody who's just like, okay, all right? No. So when we do this quota thing, it still centers whiteness. Well, I'm going to bring this one in because this is a person of color who also makes me continue to feel safe. So by my very nature of my color or my background or my accent or lack thereof or whatever, you're already off the bat, you're intimidated. Then on top of that, because I'm actually going to say how I feel, then it's like, oh, well, there goes my resume shredded. And when I say mine, I mean anybody who's of color who actually is more, the research says that Black and brown candidates are actually more prepared. They're more qualified. So it's not about the qualifications, it's about the intimidation, because it then decenters whiteness. And for me, what comes up with the quota is asking for permission. Whiteness is still the arbiter and the gateway and the portal to allow, quote unquote, allow these other people in. But that would be that's how I talk about it. Like, if we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there, and everything else is just like a little waltz. And I'm not here for a waltz. I'm here for a party that rocks out to 3 o'clock in the morning. We're dancing on top of tables and we're sweating. We're getting it all out. That I think is the ultimate goal with diversity, equity, inclusion, and quotas. Who are you bringing into the space, and are you ready for them when they come? Because these people who you're bringing in are also real, and the way you vet them is not because they are a threat. Okay, I think I'm done.
Sorry, I just really quickly want to build off what Kanene said, because it raises something in me. Like, earlier in the conversation, my heart was racing and my palms were sweaty, because there's like a lot of dialogue around women, Black women in particular, like figuring out how we're going to enter, and like, what are we going to make choices, and how's our poise going to be? And I just haven't experienced that everybody has to do that, and I don't want to have to do that. And that was like mentioned, but like, I've been in organizations where like CEOs cuss, they drink, they're white, and they behave in very interesting ways. And I don't imagine that they have to do all this like mental Olympics of how they want to enter the conversation. And I'm just wondering what spaces have done to like address those C-suites and like change their patterns of behavior. So it's not just like me always interrupting them and taking a vulnerable risk because they do retaliate, but rather like it's addressed consistently, that they just show up differently and in less damaging ways.
Yeah, Erica, I think that's an amazing point, an amazing segue. And I think let's take this into the open forum section, because you placed us right in the middle where I'm trying to figure out like, oh man, I'm new to moderating. This has gone in so many directions, which way to take it. But we're like right in the middle, because last week I did Let's Go There, because I find allies like Kanene who make my palms get a bit sweaty, who remind me of an edge of if I'm speaking one way and I think I'm being outspoken for where I was 2 years ago, Kanene is on this other edge. So she almost helps me to strengthen my empathy muscles for showing up in those conversations. And I have. I've shown up in conversations with people who are closer to these C-suite individuals, and because of that proximity, maybe don't have as much of a license to say exactly in the emotional moment the way, and they have to find the finesse way to say so. And I've been able to be a bit more outspoken, but I'm still on a spectrum. It's all a spectrum. We'll probably get a couple happy hours in. Anyone want to volunteer? Thank you, Michelle. Bahia, you want to do one?
I already did one, so if anybody wants to go in, otherwise I'm happy to volunteer.
Josh? All right. Josh, with the old school hand raised. Okay, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Everyone's going in the middle. All right. If you could spend the rest of your life learning about one topic, what would it be? Maybe write your answer as well.
I would say holding space.
Holding space, that's a good one. Something gives me the sense you're already on that journey, Josh.
Yeah, just a little bit. I would maybe it's more than holding space. I think it is a continual education on how to help people move forward um, while holding space for them and uh, uh, asking powerful questions to enable them to uh, come to learnings that empower them and give them muscle memory and seeing that progress and being a part of that journey, being able to stand back and see that growth um, is definitely uh, what I would love to continue to learn to be better at and grow that muscle myself.
Oh man, thank you. Well, definitely share some of your tips with me along the way.
At anytime, Michael.
Hey, Danielle, you're a new face. Would
I
you like?
hardly ever come on camera, but I'm so glad I did.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Would you like to grace us with your curiosity?
Yes. How do you want me to pick it, a number or tell you when to stop?
Yeah, just
And
kind of.
stop.
All right, right in the middle again. Oh, almost.
Oh.
When you visit a new city, you always make sure to blank.
Ooh, get lost. Always my number one thing. Never map. I kind of like get a sense of direction before I go, but always number one thing is I want to get lost. And hopefully I'll be back before sundown, but sometimes that's actually the better part.
Oh man, I that is definitely a stretch area for me. I have to pull out my phone all the time, and I can tell by how quick you answered that question that that is actually the number one thing that you do when you go to a city.
Totally. I have a very good sense of direction, so I
Where are you
rely on that.
calling in from? Where are you calling in from?
Oh, I'm in San Francisco.
No, SF. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. I feel like we've emailed, haven't we?
Oh, for sure. I did. I luckily got my cards a few weeks ago, and I led this exercise with my team. Actually, with IDEO is owned is part of a larger organization called Q, and within that are folks that are just interested in community building and community practitioners. And so I led this exercise during a share this past week, and it was amazing. Everyone was
Wow.
just floored. I'm sure you probably got a slew of orders. Yeah, it was really special. So thank
Oh,
you.
so
That's
cool.
specifically why I also wanted to come on camera because it was really impactful.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing this with your community.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have to let me know what your gameplay style is, because I'm always taking notes too.
Okay, cool. Actually, I just did exactly how you did for the allyship and weed, and it was
Oh,
really fun. So made it a competition because they love to compete. So
oh, nice, nice. We were gonna do that here today, but it just like sometimes you just have to blow up the program, you know?
absolutely.
Cool. All right. So we'll probably have time for one more. Ruby, maybe? Or Beth? What do you think? You want to try one?
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Oh, Ruby.
How about how about Beth? You select it and you both answer.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. You have to come off camera, off of mute. All right. Great.
That one.
Okay. Short and sweet. Which best describes you, introvert or extrovert?
I'm going to say I'm an ambivert because I love me some alone time for long periods of time. And then I have to like see people and get energy from that. I'm an ambi, but more extro than intro for sure.
I think I'm transforming into that too. Maybe. And you, Beth?
Yeah, I'm totally ambi as well. And I recently did a quiz that said I lean more toward extrovert, and I was literally shocked. Like I literally like paused and was like, "What?" But I think maybe that might be a result of all this isolation. rearing its ugly head. So, so yeah, a mix, but maybe leaning more toward extra these days, which is cool.
That'd be a
Embracing
fun
it
study.
now.
Shifting identification, what's it, personality identification as a result of COVID-19. I could see that being a thing.
Oh.
Netflix? Is that Netflix worthy? I don't know.
Sounds more like a research paper that then becomes a Netflix series at some point, like
Right.
everything else.
Cool.
You could definitely use the VIA strengths to use to enable movement in one of those directions, to put yourself in those situations where you're a little less comfortable and sort of jumping into the cold water and instead of fighting it, just being until you get used to it. But strengths can definitely help identify what you're good at, and also what's holding you back from becoming an extrovert or an introvert.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Terrifying thing to think about, but that's what makes it good.
I think I'm gonna put this into practice right away and maybe go get lost after this call. Planning
That's
happening.
very wise advice, Josh. Very wise.
Thank you, Josh.
My pleasure.
All right, y'all. Well, that's it. That's it till next week. I hope to see a few of you soon. Follow us on Instagram. Reach out to us on email. We're always looking out for your notes. And enjoy your week. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See everyone.
Bye-bye.